All right, here we are again talking about gross domestic product, GDP. Remember the definition of GDP? It's the market value of all final goods and services produced within a country within a period of time. And usually we use this equation here, C plus I plus G plus NX. In this video, I want to go a little bit deeper and talk about this issue of market value by comparing these two different ideas of nominal real GDP versus real GDP. Now, nominal GDP, over here, it's defined as looking at the total output in the economy based on the current prices in the economy, compared to real GDP, where it's looking at the total output in the economy, but it's based on a base year of prices in the economy. So if I was to compare the difference between these two, I would say that one is not adjusted for inflation and one is adjusted for inflation. Now, to see this as a comparison, let's take one example of a country that produces two things in it, and two things only. So let's say it's the year 2019, and we're going to use this as our base year for things. And in our country, we produce two things. We produce cars and computers. And let's say the price of our computers is 50, and the price of our cars is 500. And we're going to look at the output, the number of things we produce. So let's say with computers, we produce a total of 45 computers, and we produce a total of, say, 20 cars. So we're going to look at the output and the prices, and with this, we're going to look at nominal GDP. And with nominal GDP, we're going to look at all the computers we make and all the cars that we make, and we're going to look at the current prices of those things and the current quantities that we sell. And so with computers, we sell a total of $2,250 worth of computers. And for cars, we sell a total of $10,000 worth of computers, giving us a total nominal GDP of $12,250. Now, with real GDP, we're going to do the exact same thing using these numbers as our base year. So we'll look at all the computers we make, all the cars we make, our current prices, and our current quantities, and we're going to end up with, well, basically the same numbers, 2,250, 10,000, which gives us a real GDP of 12,250. So for this first year, our nominal GDP and our real GDP are the exact same thing. Now, however, going forward, let's say we have inflation. How can these two things be different now? So let's say now it's the year 2020, we have a little inflation. We look at the price of computers, and the price of computers have gone up to, say, 75, and the price of cars have gone up to, let's say, 800. Now, we're selling more, or actually we're selling less, let's say. Let's say with computers, we only sell 40, and cars, we're only going to sell 15. So we're going to do the same thing with nominal GDP here. We're going to look at the current prices and the current output to understand nominal GDP. So we look at all the computers we make, all the cars we make, and the current prices that we have and the current quantities we have. And for computers, we're going to end up selling $3,000 worth of computers, and for cars, we end up selling $12,000 worth of computers, giving us a nominal GDP of $15,000. Now, for real GDP, we're going to look at the total output that we have, but we're going to be using a base year. So we're going to look at all the computers we sell, all the cars that we sell, and we look at the quantities. But we're not going to use these numbers. We're going to go back to 2019 and look at those numbers for prices. And you remember in 2019, the price of a computer was 50 and the price of a car was 500. So let's use those numbers when we do this calculation down here. So we'll bring those numbers on down, and we'll put those in there here and use those. And so we end up with computers, we end up selling a total of $2,000 worth of computers, and for cars we end up selling a total of $7,550, giving us a real GDP of $9,550. So what's happened here is our nominal GDP has increased, but our real GDP has decreased. And so we've had totally less output in our economy. So in 2020, nominal GDP rose while real GDP fell. That shows that there was a large inflation that happened, but at the same time we had a recession that went on. So kind of combining these things to show them one more time in the year 2019 versus the year 2020. So in the year 2019, our nominal and real GDP were the same at 12,250. Where in 2020, our nominal GDP was 15,000 because the prices were much, much higher, but our real GDP was actually only 9,500 because we actually sold a lot less things. So understand the difference between these two. With real GDP, we're going to use the prices from this base year and use those same prices every single year. But every single year, we're going to use the quantities of those years. And so that way we can control for inflation. And we'll notice that actually we had a recession. So in this example, real GDP fell. We had a recession in this economy. But nominal GDP rose. And that was because there's a very, very high inflation rate. That is not often usually the case. Usually they both go up. Nominal GDP tends to go up higher than real GDP most of the time. And that difference is the inflation rate. All right. I didn't time that very well, did I? Oh, it's over. Okay. I think